Welcome back to SnowRunner, everybody. This is Hard Mode Alaska, the second episode. It's been a little while. I've just been busy with work. I went on a trip. I was in Buffalo, New York for 5 days. And now I have about 12 days until I go on vacation. So I'm going to try to get some episodes done, but I mean, I don't know. It's going to be just going to be a lull period again because I just busy. Things are happening in my life that are keeping me from recording. So that's what that is. We're here. We can take a cargo container, so we might as well pick it up. I wish I had a trailer. I'm sure there's a trailer laying around here somewhere, so if I see one, I'll pick one up. But either way, I forgot I have the Tega, so that was a fun thing to turn the game on to. I haven't played SnowRunner in a while since I last recorded, so now I remember this bridge. Let's actually go pick this up. So I don't think I picked this up yet, did I? Actually, I might have. No. But yeah, I haven't played SnowRunner in a while. I've been playing, games since, but I actually started Hollow Knight, which not Silksong. But since Silksong came out, I finally got around to starting up Hollow Knight because I've had Hollow Knight for... I did pick it up. Okay. I do need to do that, but I wonder if you could drive straight across that there. Yeah, we'll just go this way because I need to go that way anyway. So yeah, I've been playing Hollow Knight because it was a PlayStation Plus game like 4 years ago or something like that. So it's been in my library. Like I have the Void Heart edition or whatever. So it's like, which I know all the DLC was free for Hollow Knight anyway, but it's like the full game with all the DLC and whatnot. So that's cool. It's been really fun. I do really like Metroidvanias. Like I really love Tales of Iron. I still have yet to play Tales of Iron 2, but we'll get around to that too. I do really like. I have like playing Hollow Knight. It made me really like realize how much I enjoyed playing Tales of Iron, and just I really like Metroidvania, so I feel like I'm gonna play those a lot more. It is hard, definitely hard. I had heard Hollow Knight was hard, but like I wasn't really expecting it to be as hard as it is. Tales of Iron was hard. Oh, excuse me. Yawn. I tend to yawn when I talk a lot in the morning, so. But Hollow Knight is, and I mean I beat Tales of Iron on Bloody Whiskers, so that's the hardest difficulty for Tales of Iron. But like Hollow Knight is just, I don't know, man. Some of those bosses, I just like I can't, and they don't even have that many moves. Some of the bosses are just really tough. Like Broken Vessel, I cannot beat. I can't even get him into like his second phase or whatever. I think there's been like, if you've never played Hollow Knight, the bosses typically have, not all bosses, but most bosses typically have like 3 phases ish, like three what's the proper word I'm looking for? Like, it's like after you damage them enough, they kind of like slouch, like they're like out of breath, and like, they stay that way for a few seconds maybe. It's a good time to like heal or do whatever you need to do. But I often will use it as a... I might as well just go straight. I often use it as a chance to just like smack them again, because a lot of the times I don't take a lot of damage, depending on the boss, but I've only ever gotten Broken Vessel, I think, to that point. Oh, Jesus. I think maybe once, till the first time he's been like, stunned or whatever. ear itched. I feel like I'm getting sick, which is not great considering I'm going on vacation in like a week and a half. But that's just typical. My ears, like my sinuses, just feel like they're. I mean, I guess it could just be like fall allergies, but it's pretty rough. My boys are both coughing. My wife's coughing. Everyone's congested. But anyway, I don't know. Hollow Knight's been fun. I've really been enjoying it. It's just, I don't know how people like that. The map is massive on that game, and there's a lot of backtracking. And I mean, there is like a fast travel method, but it's not great. And unless you have it unlocked, obviously, you can't do it anyway. But I don't know. It is a fun game. I do like it. I don't know that I'll platinum it. I'll try, but I know some of the trophies are hard. Like, I know there's the Pantheon trophies are pretty difficult unless you use the invincibility glitch, which I'm not opposed to using. I'll use it if I feel like I really can't do it, but I'll probably give it a good shot without doing it. Because again, it's not really so much like, I mean, it is in a sense. I have some really hard trophies that like you can't like cheese or cheat or anything, and I'm really proud of those trophies. Like Crash Bandicoot 4 is probably one of my like proudest platinums, just because that game is known to just be incredibly difficult and time consuming, and I really like those kinds of games though, and I think that's why I really like Metroidvanias, because Metroidvanias have a lot of platforming in them. And like Crash Bandicoot is all platforming, so like I don't know. I do like those kinds of games, and I tend to be really kind of good at those kind of games. Like Crash Bandicoot is a game that I grew up playing Crash Bandicoot, so like it's just a game that I'm fairly good at. But even still, I mean, it took, I don't know how many hours it took me to platinum Crash Bandicoot 4, but it took a long time. And I recorded all of that. That's all on my channel if you are curious. I can't promise my commentary is any good, but I did a lot of post commentary on those videos, especially the like time trials and like insanely perfect runs. I did, because I have an insanely perfect run, I believe, for every single level in that game, where I did the level and collected all the boxes, got all the gems, everything to get insanely perfect. Which means you do the level without dying, you collect every box, you collect everything that's possible to collect on the level, blah, blah, blah. And then all the time trials, I have videos of all the time trials, so, like, it took a lot of time. And, like, I would literally just sit here and I would just record my gameplay. And, I would just, you know, once I completed it and got it, I would just save that gameplay, and then I would just voice commentary over it later. But I think I did some with live commentary, but most of them are post commentary, just because it was, some of those levels took a lot of attempts. But it is fun, and I don't know if I can get that upgrade from here. I really need to find a trailer. This is a fuel trailer. Might as well get some fuel while we're here. I think I can drive over there with this and get this. Careful. I don't have to be at work until noon today. We have our annual, like, fire drill thing today. So, all staff and all of our volunteers and stuff have to go. They, like, feed us and everything, but it's still, like, I've done this so many times in this building. We've actually had to evacuate the building during a show one time because of a haze machine set off our smoke detector. And by law, we have to evacuate, regardless of whether it's an emergency or not. But, you know, we're capable of doing it. We've done it before. But it's just we do it every year. And I understand why we do it. I'm not, like, saying we don't need to do it anymore. I do think it is very important. But I've done it so many times that, like, it's just, you know, I personally don't feel like I need to do it anymore. But I'm not obviously going to complain about it or not go. Alright, I don't know that I can get... Where do we want to go now? I need to find... Which one am I doing? This one. There's no metal pipes here. There are still some watchtowers that I should get. Whoops. What's here? Service spare parts. That needs a truck with a crane, which I don't really want to drag out right now. Let's... That I haven't picked up. I have no... Oh, that's all the way over there. Yeah, let's just go over there. I gotta find something to do. This Tega is definitely making this a lot easier. I'm not sure where I get medium pipes at. Have I gotten this watchtower? Yeah. But yeah, Buffalo was fun. I got to go to the Buffalo Bills and Baltimore Ravens game in Buffalo while we were there. And it was a good time. I mean, obviously, I'm a Ravens fan, so obviously I wish that game would have ended differently. But it obviously didn't. If you don't know, if you're not a football fan, whatever, the Ravens lost to the Bills in the playoffs last year. It would have been the game before the AFC Championship game, so like it was the AFC Championship game is the last game. Like the AFC Championship game and the NFC Championship games, that whoever wins those games decides who plays in the Super Bowl. And the Ravens lost to the Bills in the game before the AFC Championship game, so a bit of a tough loss there. Just because they were, again, so close. The year before that, the Ravens lost to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. And fun fact, I was on a cruise when that happened, too. That was 2024. No, 2023. Well, technically it was 2024, but yeah, the way football works, the Super Bowl's counted for the year the season started. Like, this year's Super Bowl will be considered, like, whoever wins this Super Bowl for this football season that just started, it will be considered the 2025 Super Bowl. I mean, they'll call it Super Bowl 60 or whatever it is. I don't remember what the number is, but it'll, in the year format, it's considered the 2025 season. So that's just how they do it. I don't really understand it, but that's how they do it. Like, the Ravens won the Super Bowl in 2000, and they won the Super Bowl in 2012. But technically, those games were played in 2001 and 2013, if that makes sense. So anyway, the Ravens lost to the Bills last year in a pretty crazy playoff game, and you know, so the NFL, of course, makes Week 1 that game again, essentially in Buffalo, Ravens against Bills, which is how the playoff game was. It was in Buffalo. So yeah, it was, and that's the second year in a row this has happened, because the year previously we played the Chiefs Week 1, which we lost to them in the playoffs. So it's kind of like a common theme with the NFL to do that to the Ravens, because they know the Ravens are a good team to watch just because of Lamar Jackson and everything like that. Ravens always score a lot of points and then fall apart in the end, which is where I'm getting at. But anyway, Ravens were up in the third quarter, like 40-25 or something like that. And like people were leaving, like Bills fans were leaving and everything, because they were, you know, obviously pissed their team wasn't playing well. And then all of a sudden, I mean, Josh Allen's the Bills quarterback. He just went off and just started slinging the ball everywhere, and Ravens defense fell apart, and Ravens ended up losing the game. It's pretty wild. It was 41-42 at the end. The Bills kicked a field goal to basically ice the game. So, you know, it sucked, but it was still a good time. All the people we were around were really, really cool. All the Bills fans we met were all super nice. No one was totally rude or like an asshole. It was a really fun time, so I enjoyed it a lot. Definitely would go there again for sure. Although, oops, changes. The cool thing about it is that was obviously the Bills' home opener, because that was Week 1. But that was their very last home opener ever in their stadium, their old stadium, because their new stadium should be finished by the time the season's ready to start next year. So it's pretty cool. But then I had like a rigging training thing for the next 4 days in Buffalo, where I had to go sit in a classroom and listen to a guy talk about shackles and chains and slings and all those fun things that we use to rig stuff over top people's heads at concerts. So it was fun. I learned a lot. Technically, I'm qualified to do those things. I'm not necessarily certified, which I kind of thought was going to be the case. I feel like there was a misconception on what this training was. So yeah, it was done at a Columbus McKinnon building, which Columbus McKinnon is probably one of the biggest names in like chain hoists and any kind of rigging for crane industry, and obviously the entertainment industry. We use a lot of that stuff. So you know, it was done by the company that manufactures and designs a lot of the rigging that is the standard for today's world in safety and whatnot. So you know, it was a really well done program, and it was, you know, well taught, and the guy knew what he was talking about. But like, my boss acted like it was this full-blown rigging certification, which I didn't think was the case ever to begin with, because a rigging certification in our industry it does exist, but like, it's not something that's necessarily easily obtainable in like a 4-day course. Like, it involves a lot more than that. We follow all of the standards that are set by like companies like Columbus McKinnon and all that stuff that, you know, design and manufacture these devices to safely rig things and fly things in the air. We don't really have our own standards ourselves, so like, we have to follow what, you know, OSHA and what these companies and what these other companies' standards said. Like, there's a whole bunch of them. There's like ASME, there's OSHA, obviously, you know what OSHA is, but ASME is, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but there's a whole bunch of them, and they all have standards for certain things. The only one that is law is OSHA. The other ones are just guidelines, like you should do this because it's been proven to be the safest way, but it's not necessarily required to do it that way. But you should obviously always follow the standards because those are backed by, you know, science and math and whatever else. But it's in my industry we don't, it's kind of weird. Like, we have certification tests that you can take, and they're very, very hard tests, and I think there's one for theatrical and there's one for like arenas, but like either way it is still a big thing, and you have to pay to take the tests as well. But the thing with it is, like, that's not what we went for, and I think our boss thinks we have like this rigging certification now, and we don't necessarily. It's weird. It's hard to I don't know. It's a weird thing, but anyway, either way, it was good knowledge to learn, and you know, if I do end up going down the route to get like a full rigging certification. Oh, there are. Why did that not show up before? Well, let's go get that then. Yeah. So, you know, in the sense that, like, I mean, my job will always send me to trainings. Like, that's not an issue. So if the chance comes that I can, and I was talking to my coworker about this that went with me. He wants to do it too, so if we can continue this rigging training and get a full wind rigging certification, then we definitely want to do that, but it's not what this was. So technically we're qualified to rig something, but it doesn't necessarily mean if something were to happen that, like, we couldn't be held liable, or like the theater couldn't be held liable because if we weren't technically certified to do it. I think that's my understanding. I don't know. I know how to do the math and all that stuff, and how to figure out tension and load and all that stuff, so like it's not that I can't do it, but again, and then it also comes down to, like, there's a lot of, it's just like plumbing and electrical. Like, in those trades you have to be an apprentice and, like, you know, become a journeyman and all that stuff before you become like a master electrician or a master plumber. And it's kind of the same thing. Like, there are master riggers out there, and they, you know, have worked alongside other riggers. They've been doing it for years and years and years. So, like, there's nothing more qualifying in my industry than years of experience. You can have as much training, and you can have training until you're blue in the face. You can take tests until, you know, you've taken all the tests, but until you've, like, used it in practice and have gotten really good at it just by doing it for many, many years, like, you're not technically a rigger, in my opinion. Like, I could get the certification, I could take the test, I could pass the test, whatever. Just because I have that piece of paper doesn't mean I'm good at the job, if that makes sense. So you know, it's just one of those things, like, and that's what we were talking about, like, because he agrees with me. Like, it's like our boss just thinks once we get this certification, like, you know, that's it. Like, we you know, don't have anything else to worry about. But that's just not the case at all. All right, how the hell do I just go all the way around? I feel like that's the safest bet. I mean, the same thing goes with, like, you know, if you want to run lights or you want to mix, like, be a sound engineer, like, it's the same thing. You can go to school for it and learn the basics like I did, but unless you actually get time on a board and get time to set up a stage and mix a band and, you know, route all your inputs and outputs and do all that stuff, like, you're never going to be fully comfortable with your job. And it's just it's one of those things, and it's a big reason why I had such a low confidence whenever I had first started being behind a board, because I knew what to do, but actually doing it in practice and like in real time was stressful. And I mean, that goes away after you do it so many times, but it's still just one of those things that like you have to get over. I mean, I fought with imposter syndrome for a while because I didn't think I deserved to be in the position that I'm in. But the more and more I did it, I realized that I knew what I was doing and I did belong there. So like the imposter syndrome has subsided a little bit, but I definitely still have, you know, a pretty decent level of imposter syndrome, and it shows its head every now and then. But for the most part, I don't really have any issues with that anymore. We do have our first show of the season Friday, I believe. I don't have to mix though; they have their own person coming. It's just a small. It's one of our like community concerts that we have. We have this community concert association in our town, and they Jesus, oops, doing all kinds of crazy things. I almost knocked over my coffee. But yeah, we have this community concert association in our town, and they do like 5 or 6 concerts a season, starting in like September through like May. And you know, it's really just like an older crowd that comes to them. They're often like, you know, Motown groups or like just piano players or like, you know, real small like bands. Nothing crazy. It's never anything like a crazy rock band either. It's always like a more small, like 3 or 4 piece like jazz band or something. We do get some big band stuff sometimes. There's sometimes where there's like 12 musicians on stage, trumpets, saxophones, guitars, you know, drums, whatever, keyboards. But that's not that often. Usually they're pretty small. And this one is the Bronx Wanderers, I think. So they're like a cover band for some, you know, 70s, 60s, 70s band. I'm not sure. But there was only like four band members. But they have their own guy that comes and mixes, so I don't really have to do anything with that. Which, not that like, you know, what do I need for this? Metal beams. Hey. Might as well just do this and then go back and get more metal beams. I can't really turn around. Yeah, but I hope everything has been good on your side of things. I've just been busy. Things have been ramping up for us. Like I said, we have a show this week, and should be a good time. I also get to go. I live relatively close to DC, and I get to go to the Kennedy Center. I believe that's Thursday, the 18th. Whenever the 18th is, I had to go to the Kennedy Center, and there's a JBL event happening there. We were invited to, so that'll be fun. We're trying to get an A8, a VTX A8 line array rig in our auditorium, but the total cost of it is like $380,000, so like it's expensive, and we're nonprofit, so we have to get all of our stuff through grants that are state funded, and it's just been a process. So, but I don't know, JBL invited us to this event, so we're going just for fun. This Tega is so good on fuel too. I feel like we're gonna fly through Alaska now that we have this Tega. Oh, they don't flip it. I really need to find a trailer. I know there's a trailer around here somewhere. Just gotta find it. And I worked a wedding Saturday. My God, that whole wedding was just a mess. There was broken glass everywhere from like vases, from centerpieces that got broken. Like, it was insane. And they tried. I was reading my phone notifications. They like tried to save money, and like they have like a family friend that has like a catering business, but they didn't want them to cater. They just wanted them to make all the food. So like they had this person make all this food, and then the decorator and like event team that they hired like ran the catering part of it, and it was clear that that's not something they usually do. And in our like catering agreements and all that stuff, you pay like a $200 deposit for cleaning. And if you clean up, like you clean up our catering kitchen and you clean up, like you take out the trash that you created with all of like your food and everything, you get that $200 deposit back. But if you don't, then we keep it, because we have to pay a cleaning crew to come in, which we always do. We always have a cleaning crew come in after events and performances, but regardless, you'll get that $200 fee back if you do the bare minimum and clean up the catering kitchen, which is the space that you're using the most, because you know you're the caterer, and take out like your really heavy trash from like food scraps and things, because we can't leave that sit in the building, because usually events happen on like Saturdays, right? And we're often not open on Sunday unless we have an event or like a performance. So we're not going to have a cleaning crew come in on Sunday. They won't come in until Monday. So like we don't want to leave the trash sit in the trash cans. And like we will take out trash, and we're not like, you know, too good for that. But it's a pretty basic ask of any caterer. If you go to any event or any venue, the caterer would be expected to take out their trash and all that stuff. That's not abnormal in our industry. But like our events director was like, "Are you guys gonna take out trash?" And they were like, "No." And like they didn't clean up anything, so they're not getting that deposit back. There was like liquid that leaked out of like food containers, like oil and grease and all that stuff all over the place. If you're familiar with catering, you know what a sterno is. It's like the little thing that sits underneath like the chafing dish that heats it to keep the food warm. They like, you know, blew out all the flame on them and then just threw them all in a trash bag, and the trash bags that they brought were leaking, so there was like this oily fluid all over the floor, and it was all slippery. It was just like, for lack of a better word, it was a disaster. And it was just a reception too. We didn't actually have the wedding. It was just the reception, and like it was just crazy. And another thing too is like we don't have our own parking lot, so like when you come, thought I was gonna break my suspension there. When you come to anything in our venue, even on the weekend, what in the world? I hate those rocks, man. Why do they leave? Why do the rocks stay in the road? So if you come to our venue for anything, chances are you're going to have to park in a parking garage, and the parking garages are not owned by us, they're owned by the city. So you have to pay parking, and they're not free on the weekends. And just a lot of the people were just... Now, there is free parking on the weekends. Any of the open, like, lots, like the pay-by-phone lots or, like, the parking meter lots, any of those are all free on the weekends, and they're free after 5 o'clock. So in this case, it would have been fine if they parked in any of the lots, but the lots are a little bit longer of a walk than the garage, so like most people choose not to park in those. But also, like, a lot of these people were from out of town, so they weren't familiar with downtown and all that stuff. So it was just like there were so many people that would like pull up out front, because like we're in like a downtown area, so like our front is like a main street. Like you can't just stop in the street and like get out of your car, because like it's a main road, like a main downtown throughway. Like it's a traveled road. It's not like it's a, you know, quiet road. Like it's a busy road, and people would just like stop in the road and like ask like, where do I park? And it's like, well, there's a parking garage if you go around the block, or there's a parking garage behind the building. And people were just like, they were like, well, is it free? And it's like, no, you have to pay. And I mean, it's just crazy. Like, I've never had so many questions about parking before. I mean, the venue I got married in had a parking garage that you had to pay for. Granted, I didn't have to pay for it because it was actually part of the venue that we, it was the venue's parking garage, which granted, because the venue that my wife and I got married in was a hotel. It was it's an old historic hotel, so I'm not gonna say what the hotel was, but it has historical value to it, and it's like presidents have been there and all kinds of stuff. It's a very, very pretty hotel. And they have a big ballroom and all this stuff. But anyway, besides the point. They had their own parking garage because it was a hotel. And I didn't have to pay for it because we were part of, you know, booking the venue and everything. We got like the honeymoon suite, or like the bridal suite hotel room. It's like part of the wedding package. And yeah, so we didn't have to pay for our parking, but all of our guests did. And that wasn't an issue, so I don't know. Kind of odd. Alright, well that bridge is made now, so that makes that a little easier. Let's just go this way and get that watchtower. We are getting close to running out of time here. I have like 15 more minutes or so. We got a good bit done though. I mean, this tag is just such a beast. It's fast. It's capable. I love this thing. Oh, I hate ice so much. If you ever see my back end just slide out like that, it's because I hit ice. And I'm trying to like correct it. More ice. I think there's a trailer over here somewhere. Look at this thing go, dude. Probably shouldn't try and go this way, but I think this Tega can do it, no problem. If I was in anything else, I would not try to go this way. This is blue snow here, I'm pretty sure, which isn't great, but we're doing fine. We're still moving. I'm so excited for our vacation. I cannot wait. I think I've said it before. I don't really care that much, but we're going on a Disney cruise, and it's on the newest ship, the Treasure, and it's just gonna be awesome. Can't wait. Okay. Where are you? Oh, that's the Royal. I forgot about that. Oh, there's the medium pipes. Let's go back down and go over that way. We'll see if we can get that upgrade and see if we can recover the Royal. Because the Royal's a good truck. It is a little tippy, though, when you put like a bigger suspension on it and stuff. But it's not a bad truck. I used to use it a lot, actually. I need to do some logging periodically too. I cannot leave that for the end. It is miserable to do it all at the end. I don't know. I genuinely think Michigan has some of the worst logging. It's just there's so much of it. It's just rough. This thing's gonna be real slow. I'd like to try to go get this upgrade. It's over here. base there. I was hoping that was for the... I'm pretty sure the P16 all-wheel drive is here in Alaska. Or no, it's in Kola, not Alaska. Hello? Alright, my wife called me. No. Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm dying. Ugh. Sorry, I muted my microphone a couple times there just because I was hacking. Alright, I think that truck's right over here. Not moving. Stuck on something. Literally just got stuck on the same thing again. Would you just disappear, tree? Like phase into the ground. What are you doing? If this tree slingshots me into this guy, I'm gonna be pissed. Where is it? I really hate the nighttime in this game. Where the hell is it? Why can't... Is that all the further I can zoom in? Yeah. Okay, it's like in there. We're almost out of time here. Okay, how do I want to drag this back? I mean, obviously that way would be the best way to go. Does it have fuel in it? It does. It's a little bit of fuel. Probably not going to be able to get this back in this episode, but I don't honestly even know if this tag can do it. I mean, it seems to be doing okay, but you gonna push me? I mean, this may just be a really slow crawl here. We are moving, it's just very slow. I'm on truck. Have we stopped? No, we're still moving. Try and wiggle my tires back and forth, see if we can get it. I'd like to at least try and get out of this water, that'd be ideal. Oh, we're getting some more traction. used all the fuel in it to do that. Wouldn't be surprised if we run out of fuel in the Tega too. We only have like a minute left. I gotta end this. We'll drive this back to the garage at the start of the next episode, but I'm gonna have to call this here. So I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will catch you in the next episode. Have a good one.